Welcome and to everybody in the sanctuary, to Valley Community Church, Divine Science, and especially a welcome to the people on the internet. Is there anyone here celebrating with us for the first time today? I don't see anyone, just dear friends. Please turn off your cell phones and smartphones. At one minute reader today will be Jan Graham, and our guest musician is Joy Truskowski. That's a tongue twister. I've been practicing. Okay, it's time for our 1 minute reader. Jan? Oh, there you are. Right in front of me.
Okay. When a man's ways please the Lord, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. We'll just wait a second here. All right, thank you, Eddie. When a man's ways please the Lord, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. Proverbs 16:7. Nothing can bring you peace but yourself. Nothing can bring you peace but the triumph of principles, wrote Ralph Waldo Emerson. If you consider peace of mind as an expression of your prosperity, it is, you know. When peace is absent, you experience want in various ways and in varying degrees. But in an atmosphere of peace, you do more. You accomplish more, you aspire more to greater heights, you see more, you enjoy more, and the end result is that you have more. Fundamentally, we seek peace because peace is our birthright. It is God-given. It is of God, from God, and really God's nature made manifest in us according to our receptivity. Our enemies are not necessarily people, but rather anything that robs us of our time, our energies, our enthusiasm, and joy in living. Any state of mind that robs us of peace of mind is an enemy. As you open yourself to God's way, or His nature, you are in this peaceful frame of mind. You then think more clearly and you accomplish more with greater efficiency and greater joy, attracting prosperity to you effortlessly. Affirm now with feeling, I am graceful for peace. I am now at peace with myself and my world.
Our opening hymn is Holy, Holy, Holy. It's on page 5, and we're going to sing verses 1, 3, and 4. What? 1, 3, and 4.
5, 3, and 4.
Page 5.
I have to turn myself on. I'm on? Yeah. So glad to see you all. I want to read from Romans 12:1. This is one of those golden nuggets that we find in the Bible. And we keep going back to these ideas because they're so fruitful. They feed us on the inside. They help us understand certain things that we wouldn't ordinarily get. We would be floundering about. So Romans 12:1. Therefore, I implore you by God's mercy to offer your very selves to Him, a living sacrifice, dedicated and fit for His acceptance, the worship offered by mind and heart. You know, Jesus said, love God with your whole being, heart, mind, and soul. That's what He said. But this is another way of saying it. Paul is saying it a little differently. I implore you by God's mercy to offer your very selves to Him, a living sacrifice. I don't like that word. But to sacrifice really means to make sacred. To realize that we are sacred, that we were made in God's image, and what we have to give is a sacred gift. And that's the gift of recognizing within each individual the very presence of God. Do that, and it's a gift. It's a gift to God. It's a gift to yourself. It's a gift to them. Fit for His acceptance. Yeah, it's fit. The worship offered by mind and heart. And where that happens, you know, it happens in the outside, but first it happens in your mind. It happens in your emotions. The intention to make sacred your interaction with the people you know, your interaction with yourself. Because we are sometimes pretty unkind to ourselves. We look in the mirror and we don't smile. Remember, I did a sermon on smiling. We don't smile. We don't smile, and we are critical. We are critical. And I'm right up there with you. I was brushing my teeth, and I thought to myself, I'm so grateful that my teeth haven't gotten wrinkled. Everything else happens. We have to be kind to ourselves as well, inside ourselves. Patting ourselves on the back for having the intention, wanting to make sacred both what we're thinking, what we're feeling, and our interactions with others. Now, is that a nugget? Is that something to remember? Is that something to celebrate? Yeah, it absolutely is. Thank you very much, St. Paul. I implore you by God's mercy to offer your very selves to Him. Yeah, why not? Here I am. Use me. Why not offer ourselves to Him? What is this whole business of walking the paths of life? Walking the streets of earth? It's a school. And it's a school to help us remember what we are. We're a living sacrifice, a living moment of sacredness, dedicated and fit for His acceptance, and we are accepted 1,000%. The worship offered by mind and heart. Let's use our minds and our hearts. Let's make ourselves sacred, know that we are sacred, and make every moment sacred in our interaction with others. And especially with our interaction with ourselves. Important stuff. Shall we say our divine science statement of being? If you don't know it, it's in your orders of service. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am the individualized expression of God, and am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance.
Good morning. I'm going old school. I don't have any machines down here today.
And we love you for it.
This is a song, I've played it here before, but I've been really moved to play it lately. It's called Satisfied Mind. It's not mine.
How many times have you heard someone say, if I had money, I would do things my way. Little they know that it's so hard to find one rich man in 10 with a satisfied mind. Money can't buy back all your youth when you're old. A friend when you're lonely, or peace to your soul. Wealthiest person is a pauper at times, compared to the man with a satisfied mind. My life is over and my time has run out. My friends and my loved ones, I will leave with no doubt. One thing's for certain, when it comes my time, I leave this old world with a satisfied mind. One thing's for certain, when it comes my time, I leave this old world with a satisfied mind.
May I have the braille box, please? This is the time in the week. Perhaps you meditate, perhaps you do not. But right now, we get still. We honor what we are. We accept the truth that we are part of God. Part of God and part of each other. These moments of meditation are designed to help us take that deep breath. And as we exhale very slowly, relax, let go, and know. Know that this marvelous body of ours, this miraculous tissue of protein and energy, is the least part of us. It is, in fact, just a garment of that which truly is part of God. The Christ within, we call it the soul, the inner being, the image of God, so many names. And yet it is what prompts that breath. It is what creates the heart beating and life rushing through the veins of our body. And we give thanks for it. We give thanks for it even though sometimes we look at it askance. We say, why are you doing this to me? Why can't I do what I did before or feel that way? But as we honor it, as we see it for the miracle that it truly is, God's ongoing miracle that we utilize every second of every day, as we recognize that miracle ongoing, not only are we worshiping God, are we giving thanks, are we feeling a connection with it, because so often we don't even feel ourselves. But we also are, in a very real way, worshiping that infinite being that made it, that structured it, structured the miracle of its ongoingness, day after day and year after year. So for ourselves and for everyone who is on our prayer list this day, we give thanks for this wonderful body that we take for granted, that we sometimes use and abuse. Right now, together with everyone on our prayer list, we give thanks for the life within it, for God's life expressing in and through us, each and all, for the opportunity it provides for us. We take it for granted. Oh my. We take it for granted until something happens to it. But let us not take it for granted right now, but see it as a gift, as a demonstration of God's immortal, eternal, invincible life. Thank you, dear God, for this temple of the living God. Thank you for a sense of peace and gratitude within myself for it. Thank you for the good manifesting through it, the healing, the balance, the wholeness within it, the energy, the vitality, the capacity to do. We give thanks for ourselves and for all those who are on our Valley Community Church prayer list, because so many of them are challenged by this wonderful body temple, are not expressing the fullest expression of life and good and zest and energy. We give thanks. In our 90 seconds of silence that we each and all experience, celebrate right now. Come unto me, all ye who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And not only does he give us rest, he gives us energy. He gives us vitality. He gives us enthusiasm. He gives us gratitude. He gives us opportunity, unlimited. He gives us love. He gives us trust. He gives us peace. He gives us everything. And right here, right now, for ourselves and for all those for whom we pray, we give thanks to him. Right here, right now. Amen. Shall we say the affirmative Lord's Prayer? It's in the present tense. Those who don't know it, it's in the very first page of our hymnals. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed is thy name. Thy kingdom is come, thy will is done on earth as it is in heaven. Thou givest us this day our daily bread. Thou forgivest us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Thou leadest us not into temptation, but dost deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Now, this morning I'm going to be talking about wells in the desert. You know, one of the talks that was given at the conference that I went to at the end of July was on this subject, and I thought that is a really good passage in the Bible. I'm going to use that myself. I was impressed by what this man pointed out. And it had gotten past me. There's so much in here, my gosh. But this is from Genesis. It's from 27. And this occurs after, you know, Isaac did not have children for a long time. Sarah was barren. And so she gave her servant girl, Hagar, to him to have a child. Apparently, the servant's child would be her child. And but after a period of time, God blessed them with their own child. And the boy grew and was weaned, and on the day of his weaning, Abraham gave a feast. Sarah saw the son whom Hagar, the Egyptian, had borne to Abraham, laughing at him. And she said to Abraham, "Drive out this slave girl and her son. I will not have this slave girl's son sharing the inheritance with my son, Isaac." Abraham was vexed at this on his son Ishmael's account. But God said to him, "Do not be vexed on account of the boy and the slave girl. Do what Sarah says, because you shall have descendants through Isaac. I will make a great nation of the slave girl's son too, because he is your own child." Abraham rose early in the morning, took some food and a water skin full of water, and gave it to Hagar. He set the child on her shoulder and sent her away. And she went and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. When the water in the skin was finished, she thrust the child under a bush and went and sat down some way off, about 2 bow shots away, for she said, "How can I watch this child die?" She sat some way off, weeping bitterly. My goodness, that was cold. Gave her a water skin, a little bit of food. Goodbye and good luck. And it's desert out there. There's nothing out there. You know, there are a few bushes here and there. And she drank as much water and gave it to the child as was there. But water is life in the desert. Without it, that's it. That's all. It was pretty cold. And yet God had promised him, had said to him, this child not only is going to survive, he's going to make it. He's going to have, and in other places in the Bible, it says 12 princes will come from him. So he will be a mighty people. Okay. The point that the minister made down in Florida was that we know what Hagar felt, because we've all had desert experiences. We've all had those times that we've been sent into a tailspin, shocked to the very depths of our being. By what? Somebody you loved died. You were kicked out of a job that you'd been in for a long time, just dismissed. Maybe there was a breakup of a friendship or an intimate relationship, and it wasn't what you wanted, but it happened. You sure did. Maybe you had real bad news from a doctor. Or a business that you tried to create failed. Or you just failed at something that was important to you. I think you know what I mean. I think that every one of us have had this experience in the past. Just you're hard against it. It's feeling awful. It's bad times, scary times. But what happened next? God heard the child crying, and the angel of God called from heaven to Hagar, "What is the matter, Hagar? Do not be afraid. God has heard the child crying where you laid him. Get to your feet, lift the child up, and hold him in your arms, because I will make of him a great nation." Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well full of water. She went to it, filled her water skin, and gave the child a drink. Life. The opportunity for life again. It's with us the way it was with Hagar, though. Scripture says God opened her eyes. God opened her eyes, and she saw this well full of water. It was there all the time. She didn't see it, though. He said, don't be afraid. And that's something we have to take to mind. We can't let our fears take us over. We cannot allow them to shake us to the depths of our shoes. That's the most important first thing. We're not afraid because God is omnipresent. We're not afraid because He's with us. He is within us. We live because of Him. And He knows our needs. He loves us, and He will respond to us. He will open our eyes and show us the wells, the solutions, the opportunities that desert experiences can bring to us. Now, this minister at the conference said that we need to talk about these desert experiences, and lots of times we are ashamed of them. We don't want to talk about them. We want to hide them away in the back of our heads and not say anything. But we should never be ashamed. And he started talking about his desert experience. It happened when the doctor told him that he was HIV positive. His world crashed. HIV positive. He was shocked to his absolute depths. He told his friends, and everybody commiserated with him. Oh my gosh, oh that's terrible. I'm so sorry to hear that. What can I do to help? And they were certainly with him, mentally and emotionally. But he didn't feel any better after their kind words. It felt worse than ever, as a matter of fact. But one day he told a minister friend, and she said, what the doctor said was just information, and you are in charge of information. That was the equivalent of don't fear. He was in charge. Had he given his power over to a physical ailment? Apparently so. But God opened his eyes at that point in time, and he saw this well full of water. He would do things that enabled him to move past this tremendous physical challenge. He was going to do that. And I'll tell you today, standing up there, he's the picture of health. I don't know how long ago that happened. Maybe many years, I don't know it. He looked great, full of energy. As a matter of fact, he got married last year. I didn't meet the gentleman that he had married, but I'm sure it's a happy union. And he stays super busy with a very active church. He had his desert experience, but he found the wells in the desert. The wells were those words from his friend, the minister. But the point is that when we're in the midst of these desert experiences, when we find ourselves mired in fear or anger or maybe outrage, the solution, the way out is to turn to the source of all good, all solutions. We turn to God. And God is going to open our eyes to the wells, to the blessings, to the good. God did it for this minister that was speaking. And God has no doubt done it for all of you, certainly done it for me. He's done it for all of you in the past. Can you bank on He did it before, He'll do it again. It's going to happen again. It's going to be okay. We don't have to fear. We don't have to fear. The wells are there. We don't see them yet sometimes, but they're there. There was another person who shared her desert experiences, and that's no less than Oprah Winfrey. She had plenty of them, plenty of them. And that she has achieved all the amazing things that she's done is nothing short of a miracle, considering what happened to her through her early years. But she is the only African-American woman who is a billionaire. Something like $3.2 billion. That's what she's worth. But how did she start? She started in the desert. I'm quoting her. My entire existence is the result not of a romance, but of a one-time frolic under an oak tree. Her 18-year-old mother got pregnant, and she was so ashamed of this pregnancy that she hid it until the day the baby was born. I don't know how she managed that, but she did. Oprah was unwanted, and her mother did not raise her. She was raised by her grandparents in Mississippi, which is unquestionably the most segregated, prejudiced state in the United States. They lived way, way out in the country. Her grandfather was senile, and her grandmother was stressed to the max and was short-tempered with her. There were no other children for her to play with, not for miles. And so she played by herself all the time, homemade dolls and corn cob toys. She learned to read early on, and she read everything she could lay her hands on. She loved books. She loved poetry because they were her wonderful escape from what was going on around her in her family. Well, the family moved to Milwaukee, where she began being sexually abused from the ages of 10 to 14. And then after that, she became sexually promiscuous, which is a common result of abuse. At 14, she got pregnant and kept it a secret, just like her mother. The baby died a few weeks after it was born. Oprah went back to school and never told anyone. She was afraid she'd be expelled if she had been found out. She kept the pregnancy secret for years, even after achieving national fame, because she was so ashamed of it. But then a family member betrayed her and leaked it to the tabloids. It was all over the tabloids, and she was devastated. A family member did this to her. She wept for days. She was distraught. She always imagined that if people knew what had happened, they would point at her, they would criticize her. But she went to work on Monday, and nobody said anything. No, nobody treated her any differently. I was exactly the same. And she soon found out that having this dark, terrible secret out was liberating. She no longer had to fear. Her shame about the sexual abuse and the pregnancy had been a long, long-term desert experience. But that traitorous family member actually freed her No one realized it at the time, but that disloyal family member actually provided a well in the desert. Something happened, and it was a blessing. Oprah Winfrey had a wonderful mentor and friend in Maya Angelou, the famous poet and writer and civil activist. One of the wells that Maya taught her dear friend Oprah was gratitude. Gratitude. Oprah called Maya one day, and she was crying so hard, she was so upset that she was almost incoherent. And Maya said, "Stop it. Stop it right now and say thank you." And Oprah sobbed. She said, "You don't understand." And Maya said, "I do understand, and I want you to say it now. Say thank you. Out loud. Say it." And so Oprah said, "Thank you." But she was snuffling still. "What am I saying thank you for?" And Maya said, "You're saying thank you because your faith is so strong that you don't doubt that whatever the problem, you'll get through it. You're saying thank you because you know that even in the eye of the storm, God has put a rainbow in the clouds. You're saying thank you because you know that there is no problem created that can compare to the power of the Creator of all things. Say thank you." And Oprah did. And she still does. Oh, we're so blessed. We're so blessed in divine science because we're provided with this cushion, this protection against the hard, difficult, painful, sometimes very long-term blows of the desert experience. We know that God loves us, not for what we do, not for what we haven't done, but for what we are. For what we are, His image, His beloved child. We've learned from those experiences, those painful, difficult desert experiences. We've learned that they often prelude a wonderful growth, an opening, a blossoming in mental and spiritual understanding, a kind of breakthrough to newness, to greater understanding, greater compassion, and greater gratitude. Have you ever wondered what your soul looked like? I have. I've scratched my head and thought about that. And I've kind of always pictured it as a kind of an oval-shaped white blob. I don't know if that really describes it. I rather doubt it. But when I visualize my soul or try to, there's this white blob. And it seems pretty unimpressive, frankly. But on the other hand, we're told that the most complicated thing in the universe is the human brain. This gelatinous gray stuff between our ears. The most complicated thing in the universe. It creates great art and music. It creates literature. It transforms the modern world. It discovers facts about science and medicine. At the same time, all this is going on mentally. It is keeping the body humming along, the heart beating, digesting food, healing wounds, on and on and on. All those things going on at once. And when we think of the stupendous creative mind that created this 13 billion light-year universe with all its complexity and all its intricacy, as well as this human brain, we realize that this divine presence, God, has to be infinitely more complex, more marvelous than anything it's created. Our souls. When I've thought of those souls as being a kind of nondescript, unimpressive white blob, they are one with the very being of God as His image. Our souls have got to be as complicated, as wise, as powerful, as loving, as creative as that infinite being that made them, because we were created in His image. Maybe that white blob isn't so unimpressive after all. Maybe our souls, maybe the very core of our being, are marvels of power and complexity. If that is so, and I believe it is, with God's help, we will dependably be shown the wells. The wells in any desert experience we might have, past, present, or future. And for that, we say, thank you. Thank you. Amen.
Amen.
Shall we go within and say, thank you? And keep saying it whether we're in tears or we're frightened or we dread something that has to be done or something that might be coming up in the future. When there are more questions than there are answers in our minds, in our feelings, say thank you. Because the desert is filled with wells that are full, that will nourish and lift, feed, and enhance us, that will give us opportunities, that will give us spiritual, mental, emotional growth, that will strengthen us, that will bless us, and through us bless infinite numbers of others. Thank you, dear God. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Amen.
Amen.
I invite you to sing along with me because you know this song. It's Woody Guthrie. And we learn it in kindergarten, and I think we don't learn the protest verses that he wrote, so I'm going to sing those too. And I added my own little verse at the end to sort of express something. Something that I think will resonate with you.
This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you the city, in the shadow of the steeple, by the relief office, I've seen my people as he stood there hungry. I stood there asking, is this land really made for you and me? This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land's for the Christians. This land's for the Muslims, the Jews and the atheists, 'cause they're our cousins. My God loves everyone, even if yours doesn't. This land was made for all of us. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. Oh, this land was made for you and me.
Oh, I have 4 kittens available. I have pictures, I have a flyer, so if anyone wants a kitten, talk to me. We took in a stray cat and she had 4 kittens.
If I didn't have 2 huskies, I would take one. It's time for the blessing of the gifts. Today, I acknowledge God, omnipresent, as the source of all good, as the source of my good. With this acknowledgement, I accept His will, which is abundance in every aspect of my life. I release all thoughts of lack and limitation, and I am open and receptive to the increased flow of abundance to me right now. I joyfully accept the gifts of life and give freely of the special gift that I am. Through me, God omnipresent, blesses and multiplies His seed for all. Thank you, dear God.
There was something that I heard about while I was at the conference, and that was that there are churches where what they do is after the offering is taken, they turn to each other and say, thank you for your gift to God's work. So I thought, let's try it. Turn to the people behind you or to your side, to the people to your side. Thank you for your gift to God's work. We can't say thank you to you enough for you, what you do for the church. But the other people here can say thank you for us. Okay? I'm going to pass the prayer basket. This is for anyone who would like to take part. There's no thou shalts about this, except if your own heart says, yes, I want to do this. I want to hold someone in mind in the light this week. So, and we'll pass it on.
Jan has some announcements.
Good morning again. As Maria said, a lot of times the board members say thank you and Maria says thank you, but sometimes it just takes somebody else in the congregation to say thank you to the other people that do so much here, because we have people that do all kinds of things all the time. And if it wasn't for these helpers, we wouldn't get a lot done around here. So I know a lot of times I get up here and say who does this, but all of y'all know everybody in this church that does a lot of work around here. So when you get a chance, just say thank you or call them up or whatever, and tell them how much you appreciate them, because I appreciate everything everybody in this church does, and even the people that aren't here do some things. So we're really grateful for everything that gets done. Thank you. And before we get started, Maria, would you just talk a little bit about Evan Alexander? Some people still don't know about that. So if you would just talk about it a little bit.
Yeah. Evan Alexander is a physician. He was a teaching physician. He worked at Harvard University, and he served at Brigham and Women's Hospital and Children's Hospital, I believe it is, in Boston. A very illustrious career. He's a brain surgeon. And he didn't believe in near-death experience. He thought it was just, something that happened to the dying brain. The brain created the whole thing. Until he contracted a very unusual disease, that is viral meningitis. And he went into a coma in a very swift period of time. Was in a coma. And of course, with viral meningitis, the brain is encased in pus, which certainly isn't creating anything. But he had a Lollapalooza of near-death experience, and it turned his life around. And he wrote a book called Proof of Heaven. And I get different numbers from various websites. Some say 12 million books, some say 2 million books, some say 3 million books. So I don't know, but he sold a lot of books. And we've invited him to come to Roanoke to speak. He's going to be speaking in our church, and this will be the 6th of November at 11 o'clock. And we're not telling a lot of people about that because we want, the seats available for all of you. And he will be speaking at that time. We'll have sort of an abbreviated service and give him half an hour to speak. And then in the afternoon, he's going to be doing a seminar at the Taubman Museum from 2 to 5. He and his partner, a lady by the name of Julie Newell, no, Karen Newell, and who is an expert in sound. And not only will we hear about his experience, but in addition to that, we will have a half an hour of a very deep meditation that is aided by a soundtrack that just brings the brain into theta waves where like you when you're in your deepest sleep. So, and then explanations, there'll be time for questions and answers. We'll be selling books, and we will be also, he'll be signing the books. So it's going to be a very, very interesting day. And I will be needing some help. So I thank you very much for volunteering. We need people who will be able to, make lines for this and that. They're Karen Newell's, her CDs and the books that we're going to be selling of his and so forth. So speak to me, speak to Jan, speak to somebody on the board if you can help, because we're going to need a lot of hands. This is not some one-person thing or a 6 or 5 person thing. This is a lot of us putting our efforts together, because we hope to get 231 people, because that's how many seats we're going to have at the Taubman. We want to fill every one of them. So we've got to get the word out. We have a lot of work ahead of us, and we'll need help. And I thank you in advance for helping us. Thank you.
What was the date on that again?
6th of November, Sunday afternoon.
You'll be
5.
hearing a whole lot more about it between now
Yeah,
and
Town
then.
Museum.
But hopefully we'll have the tickets on sale by the 1st of September. The tickets will be $35 until October the 15th. After that, they'll be $45. So, but you'll hear more about that as the week goes on. We're trying to get the tickets up and online by the 1st of September. So we'll let you know about that in the next week or so. As you know, we're collecting peanut butter. Next Sunday will be the last Sunday we're collecting peanut butter for Feeding America. So after that, I'll take it over to their office. Also, I announced last week, the Graham House has started a project where they're collecting shoes. So if you've got any shoes you're not wearing, or you want to clean out your closet or your basement or whatever, because I know we all probably got tons of shoes that we don't wear. So bring them, put them in the annex, and at the end of October, probably before then, I'll truck them down to the Ram House. It's a project that they're doing to raise money for their business. We were going to have a hike today after church, but we decided since it was potluck Sunday, we would do it next Sunday. So we're going to go next Sunday after church. We're going to go hiking, and I think we're going on the Greenway unless we change plans. So it'll be right after church. We have potluck today, and so everybody please join us. This week's flowers are sponsored by Eddie and Maurita. Happy birthday, Alicia and Trish. So they're not here, but anyhow, happy birthday to them. Also, we have Cindy Metz last week asked us, she said she always runs into people and she tells them about our church and whatever. So she said, I like to have a little card that tells us about the church. So, you know, I tell Nancy and then I tell Ann and Bob Beaver, so they worked on it. So we have little cards that has all of our information for the church. You know, sometimes you can tell people about the church and it goes, just they forget about it. But sometimes if they have something to hold in their hand, they might go back and look at it later and say, oh, I might at least go online and check it out. And so we put on here, we said instead of calling them sermons, we'll call them messages. Sometimes that sounds better than people don't want to hear a sermon, they say. So anyhow, so we've got some extra ones here today, but Bob is going to make some more for me this week, and we'll have some more passed out so everybody will have them. And one last thing is, we have a special birthday coming up Friday, and it's our wonderful singer, Joy. So we will sing happy birthday to her. It's not very often we know that, so happy birthday. Thank you. Go ahead.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joy. Happy birthday to you.
I believe the basket went around, all the way around, didn't it?
Yes.
Okay, good. Did I do the blessing of the gifts already? Sorry.
You want to do it? We'll do it again if you want to.
Our closing hymn is page 59, Sweet Hour of Prayer, and we're going to sing verse 1 and 2. Yeah.